Most survival advice sounds simple when you hear it from a safe room with a phone in your hand. Stay calm, trust your instincts. Nature gives warnings. But the terrifying part is that nature almost never warns you in a language you understand. It whispers in signals that look harmless, beautiful, even peaceful. And by the time your brain realizes those signals were actually alarms, the decision has already been made for you. Because out in the wild, death rarely arrives looking like a monster. Sometimes it arrives looking like clear water, silence, or an animal that's acting just a little too friendly. And the most dangerous thing about humans is that we evolved to notice drama, not patterns. Which means the signs most likely to kill you are often the ones you'd probably film for social media first. Number 10, the ocean suddenly pulling backward. You're standing on a beach when people around you start pointing at the water. The shoreline is retreating fast. Fish are flopping on wet sand where the ocean used to be seconds ago. Kids run forward laughing because the sea looks like it's disappearing. But the ocean is not retreating. It's inhaling. This is one of the clearest warning signs of a tsunami. Before certain tsunamis strike, the trough of the wave reaches shore first, sucking enormous amounts of water back into the ocean. The seafloor becomes exposed in places humans were never meant to walk. It looks surreal, almost magical. And that's exactly why it's deadly. Human curiosity overrides survival instinct. In the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, witnesses described people calmly walking onto the exposed seabed collecting fish before the wave arrived. Minutes later, entire coastlines were erased. The terrifying thing about tsunamis is not just their size, it's their speed. In deep water, tsunami waves can travel as fast as a jet airplane. By the time you visually understand what's happening, you're already inside the timeline of catastrophe. If the ocean suddenly runs away from the shore, you do not stand there thinking. You run inland and uphill immediately. The sea is not leaving. It's preparing to hit you with the force of a moving continent. Number 9, animals abandoning an area all at once. Imagine walking through a forest and suddenly noticing movement everywhere. Birds exploding out of trees. Deer sprinting through brush. Insects swarming in strange directions. Everything alive seems desperate to leave. Humans tend to think intelligence means superiority. But in moments like these, animals are operating on sensory systems we barely understand. Many species can detect vibrations, pressure changes, electromagnetic shifts, and chemical signals long before humans notice anything wrong. Before major earthquakes, snakes have reportedly left burrows days early. Before volcanic eruptions, entire populations of animals have migrated without any visible reason. During the 2004 tsunami, elephants reportedly moved toward higher ground before the wave arrived. Scientists still debate exactly how animals sense danger so early, but from an evolutionary perspective, it makes perfect sense. Any species that ignored subtle environmental changes probably died before passing on its genes. Humans, meanwhile, became specialists at rationalizing danger away. If every animal around you suddenly wants out, don't assume they're overreacting. You may be the only creature in the area that doesn't understand the emergency yet. Number 8, snow that suddenly becomes silent. You're hiking across a snowy mountain trail. The wind has been loud all day. Your boots crunch beneath you. Then suddenly the mountain goes quiet in a way that feels unnatural, like someone muted the world. The snow under your feet starts sounding hollow, almost drum-like. That silence may be one of the final warnings before an avalanche. Fresh snow layers don't always bond together properly. Sometimes a heavy slab forms on top of a weaker layer underneath, creating something like a loaded trap waiting for vibration. One footstep can become the trigger. Survivors of avalanches often describe hearing a deep whump sound seconds before the collapse, which is the snowpack settling and cracking beneath pressure. And avalanches are not slow, moving piles of snow like cartoons teach you. Large avalanches can move faster than a race car. The force is powerful enough to snap trees like toothpicks and bury victims so deeply that rescue becomes nearly impossible within minutes. Most avalanche deaths happen because people underestimate how quickly stability can vanish. A peaceful snowy landscape can transform into a moving wall of concrete without warning. The mountain doesn't care whether you're experienced or not. Number 7, one cloud that refuses to move. You're driving near a mountain range and notice something strange. Every cloud in the sky is drifting normally except one. A massive cloud hangs in place over a peak like it's nailed there. It looks calm, beautiful even, but stationary clouds can signal extremely dangerous atmospheric conditions. Lenticular clouds form when moist air flows over mountains, creating standing waves in the atmosphere. Pilots sometimes call them UFO clouds because of their shape. What matters is not the cloud itself, but the invisible air currents around it. Those currents can create violent turbulence, strong enough to flip aircraft and generate sudden, destructive winds on the ground. Climbers caught in these conditions can experience rapid temperature drops, hurricane, force gusts, and whiteout conditions within minutes. The unsettling part is how deceptive it looks. Human brains associate stillness with safety, but sometimes stillness means enormous opposing forces are canceling each other out temporarily. Nature often looks most stable right before instability erupts. Number 6, water that feels unusually warm. You're swimming in the ocean and suddenly hit a pocket of water that feels strangely warm compared to everything around it. Most people ignore this. Some even enjoy it, but abrupt temperature changes in water can signal dangerous currents beneath the surface. In certain coastal regions, warm currents and cold currents collide, creating rip currents powerful enough to drag Olympic-level swimmers out to sea. Rip currents don't look dramatic. There's no giant wave or visible monster. That's what makes them effective killers. The water simply begins moving with more force than your body can resist. Panic does the rest. Every year, strong swimmers drown because they try fighting directly against a current that's stronger than they are. The ocean wins through exhaustion, not violence. And psychologically, that's harder for humans to accept. We think danger should look dangerous. But one of nature's favorite tricks is disguising lethal force as ordinary movement. Number 5, the smell of bleach near water. You're near a lake or coastal shoreline and catch a sharp chemical smell, almost like bleach or cleaning products. There are no factories nearby, no swimming pools. What you may be smelling is a harmful algal bloom. Certain algae release toxins that can poison fish, pets, wildlife, and humans. Some toxins attack the nervous system. Others damage the liver. During severe blooms, entire shorelines can become biological hazard zones. Dogs have died within hours after swimming in contaminated water because they licked the toxins from their fur afterward. What makes algal blooms frightening is how modern they feel. They are partly amplified by warming temperatures and nutrient pollution, meaning human civilization is unintentionally engineering new environmental dangers faster than our instincts can adapt to them. Your brain evolved to fear predators with teeth and claws. It did not evolve to fear microscopic organisms quietly turning a beautiful lake toxic. Number 4, the buzzing ground. You're walking through open terrain when you feel a faint vibration beneath your feet, almost like standing near distant machinery. Then you hear a low humming sound in the air. It's subtle enough that your brain tries to ignore it, but sometimes that buzzing is caused by high voltage electricity leaking into the ground from damaged power lines. After storms, floods, or infrastructure failures, electricity can energize puddles, fences, roads, even entire sections of wet earth. The terrifying thing about electricity is that evolution never prepared us for it. Humans developed instincts for snakes' heights and predators over millions of years. But electricity is invisible, silent, odorless, and faster than human reaction time. You don't get a second chance to learn from it. If the ground starts buzzing or your hair begins standing up near damaged infrastructure, distance is survival. Number 3, a perfectly calm eye in the storm. Hurricanes terrify people because of the wind, the rain, the noise. But the most psychologically dangerous moment is often the eye. After hours of chaos, everything suddenly becomes calm. The sky may even turn blue. People step outside thinking the storm has passed. In reality, they are standing inside a temporary illusion created by the structure of the cyclone itself. Then the backside of the hurricane arrives, often with winds just as violent as before, sometimes worse because they hit from the opposite direction. This reveals something important about human psychology. We struggle to maintain caution once immediate pressure disappears. Relief itself becomes a vulnerability. History is full of disasters where people survived the first phase only to die because they misread temporary calm as permanent safety. Number 2, animals acting strangely affectionate. A wild animal approaching humans without fear feels almost magical. A fox walking calmly towards you. A raccoon stumbling into daylight. A bat unable to fly properly. Human beings instinctively anthropomorphize these moments. We think the animal is curious, friendly, maybe even asking for help. But in many cases, abnormal tameness is neurological collapse. Rabies rewires behavior in horrifying ways. The virus attacks the nervous system, causing aggression, confusion, disorientation, and eventually paralysis. Once symptoms appear in humans, survival is almost impossible. What makes rabies terrifying is not just the disease itself. It's the timeline. A tiny bite you barely notice can quietly become a death sentence weeks later if untreated. Nature's deadliest threats are often invisible at first contact, and humans are dangerously biased toward interpreting unusual animal behavior emotionally instead of biologically. Number 1, the sky turning green. Tornado survivors describe this moment over and over. The clouds darken, then the entire sky develops a strange green tint that feels almost unreal. It doesn't look natural because it isn't something human brains are used to seeing. The green color forms when sunlight interacts with enormous quantities of water and ice suspended inside severe storm clouds. And historically, that green sky has often preceded hailstorms, supercells, and tornado-producing systems. The problem is that humans hesitate during uncertainty. We waste critical seconds trying to confirm danger visually. Is that really a tornado? Is the storm actually bad? But tornadoes can move faster than people realize, changing direction unpredictably while hidden behind rain or darkness. Some survivors describe hearing a sound like a freight train seconds before impact. Others never heard anything at all. Entire homes can vanish so completely that the landscape afterward looks scraped clean. Civilization creates the illusion that humans control their environment, but severe storms are reminders that we are still fragile organisms living beneath a very thin atmosphere on a violent planet. And maybe that's the uncomfortable lesson hidden behind all these warnings. Nature is not cruel. It's indifferent. The river does not hate you. The storm does not target you. The disease does not know your name. But the universe also does not pause to explain itself in ways humans find emotionally convenient. Survival often depends on recognizing patterns before your instincts catch up. And that's difficult because modern life trains people to ignore subtle signals. Notifications, noise, distractions, constant stimulation. We've become very good at overlooking the quiet details that once kept our ancestors alive. But reality still whispers before it screams. The question is whether you'll recognize the whisper before it's too late.